Oh man, did AI help me this week or not? I've never mentioned AI, artificial intelligence, in any of my videos because it's not ready for prime time as far as eBay goes. You're seeing all the eBay gurus on YouTube telling you how you can use AI to create descriptions and titles, all of that. It's not ready yet. The time it takes for you to fix everything that gets wrong just isn't worth it. Just sell similar off a successful item. Sell similar, change what's different, and you're off to the races. It's for sale. Take good pictures, but it's for sale. I'll let you know when AI is ready to generate listings for you. It's not ready yet. You're really going to waste a lot of time if you start messing with it for that. You really are. Unless you write terrible listings now and you haven't been paying attention to how to create a perfect listing on this channel, which is how eBay wants us to create a listing and how Google wants us to create listings, because Google tries to present every eBay item for sale because Google wants a commission by telling people who search Google for items. Google wants a commission from eBay every time it sends eBay a customer. So Google and eBay have very specific details of what they want: your description, your condition, your item specifics, category, title, pictures, all of that. That's all I teach here on this channel. AI will not do that properly. Someday it will. But until then, I have a fantastic way for you to use artificial intelligence to improve your sales and make everything more accurate on your eBay account. And here is how I approached it last. And you'll also learn a whole lot about selling music books, songbooks, and sheet music and orchestral scores. You're going to learn a whole lot about all that stuff on eBay and how wonderful eBay is to sell all that stuff. Things that you've just walked past in the past. Old 1970s songbooks of the Carpenters that you'd never think to sell on eBay. Those types of things sell very well. It'll shock you, even if they're not in the best of condition. I'm going to show you why here in a second, and then I'm going to really drop the bombshell on you and show you how AI solved every eBay problem I had this week. It'll blow you away. State of the end. Everyone says that. I've never told you that, ever. I've never tried to get you the state of the end in order to get views up or anything on this channel. I just present information. If you like it, fine. If you don't want to watch it, fine. I understand. But this is one you really should stick with. No, I have no idea why Albert Einstein is conducting an orchestra. All I know is he must have been there conducting this orchestra because it's in this picture, and pictures don't lie. I have a fondness for music, but so does almost everybody, so that's no big deal. I know a lot about music because I've been in orchestras and bands, played the trombone, played the keyboard growing up as a kid. I've been in even a jazz band as an adult, and I understand the mechanics of music. I know how to read music and all of that. Now, a lot of you do too. A lot of you don't, but you still appreciate music. You've still got your favorite music, your favorite songs. We've been finding that you can sell music like sheet music or songbooks really well on eBay because at retail, whether online or at a music store that has musical instruments for sale, they also have a lot of music and sheet music, those types of stores. Music is very expensive new at a retail store or a retail website. Music is expensive. Printed music, whether it's a songbook, sheet music for individual instruments. Let's say that you play the tuba and you want to do a solo this Sunday at church. They sell tuba solos, music that a tuba player can get to play a solo, all sorts of songs. But again, at retail, it's very expensive. eBay is a treasure trove of used music, sheet music books, songbooks. Tulsa is like the buckle of the Bible Belt, and we've been finding sale after sale where they have these old 1970s and 60s collections of Christian music, old, not hymnals, but just old music like they would sing in Vacation Bible School and stuff. And a lot of them are kind of rough and covers are loose and they've got lots of foxing. Foxing is the brown discoloration that happens on a lot of old books. And we find that they just sell. All of that just sells. It just sells, it sells. As soon as I say, Janie, that'll never sell, it sells. And I'm talking $7 to $19 for like an old book of 25 songs for Vacation Bible School in the 1970s. I mean, I can't believe how much they're selling for. Well, we were at an estate sale Sunday afternoon. It's pretty late for estate sales. It's about 1 o'clock. That's pretty late on a Sunday for an estate sale. Everything was half price because that's what estate sales do. The first day or two, they're full price. And then Saturday, they're usually 25% off. And Sunday, the last day of most estate sales, 50% off. Everything on this estate sale was 50% off. And we were finding a lot of great stuff. I couldn't believe it hadn't been picked over by resellers, but it hadn't. We found a lot of great stuff. Big tip, we always take IKEA bags. You can just order them from IKEA.com if you don't have an IKEA store close to you. They sell these huge bags with great handles, very sturdy, reinforced, and we fold them up and take 2 or 3 each into every estate sale we go to because you're going to be way ahead because everyone else is going to try to be juggling everything that they want to buy and then they see something else and they can't even pick it up. We just casually put things in our bag. We show the bags before we go in, let the ladies know that we're taking in bags and they don't have a problem. You can take a box or 2 if you want, but bags are better, easier. And I'd filled up my 2 bags. So I went out to pay and then I took them out to the car and I told Janie, I texted her and said, if you're about done, I can come back and help you check out or you can check out. And she said, I found their music room. Okay. She said, this is really something. You need to see it. Okay. So got out of the car. It was like 101 degrees Sunday afternoon. It's really miserable, very humid. It was like Tulsa used to be when I was growing up, really hot. But in the last 25, 35 years, Tulsa's been a lot cooler in the summer. A lot of cities have been. I guess it's all that global warming they're warning us about, making everything so cold. You know, they can't predict weather accurately 2 days from now, but they say in 50 years we'll all die from global warming. It's just weird that people believed that for 50 years. People have believed we're all going to die in 50 years. They've believed that for 50 years. I don't know what's wrong with people. They're gullible. But I traipsed back in there, locked the car with our stuff, traipsed back in, found the music room Janie was talking about, and oh, was she ever right. There was great stuff in this room. On a Sunday afternoon, why hadn't it been picked over? Musical instruments and box after box of music, all sorts of music, songbooks, Christian books, Neil Diamond books, everything, songbooks of all these. I'll tell you, a songbook will sell. Like if you find a songbook from the 80s of Kansas music, it'll have the lyrics and the piano and chords for the guitar. That stuff sells really well. They don't have to be in perfect condition either. So they had a lot of things like that. They had a lot of sheet music for individual instruments. They had a lot of orchestral scores. Now, Albert here has to have an orchestral score in order to conduct this orchestra. Now, what an orchestral score is, that is a collection of everyone's music for a single song, although orchestras prefer that you say piece, for a single piece that they're about to play. And an orchestral score will have the conductor's score, which is a very thick book compared to all the other music for the violin players and the trombone players and all of that, because his book has to have everyone's music. So he'll have a staff for the trombones, he'll have a staff for the clarinets, he'll have a staff for the percussion. He sees everyone's parts, and then the individual instruments. There is a trombone part, first trombone, second trombone, French horn, first and second, tuba, percussion, oboe, all of that. So there are small individual pieces for the same music, but the conductor, his music, his sheet music is very thick. It's usually some sort of a book. All of that together is called a score. It's a bunch of sheet music, but it's a score. That's what it's called. And there were scores of scores, score after score. There were scores for big orchestras, a lot of them. There were scores for chamber music. Chamber music is like 5 instruments get together and they put on small concerts at luncheons and special occasions and things like that. Turns out, the man who lived here for decades and decades, he was a music teacher, and he must have been in orchestras his whole life. I don't know what age he died recently, but he did die recently, but he had to be very old, and he was in music a long time to have amassed the wealth of music that was in this room. Now, here's my dilemma. An orchestral score of, say, anything, Johann Sebastian Bach's Opus 3 or something, it's hard to comp that because there are lots of different versions of it. And almost for sure the version you have is not going to be for sale right now, may not even have been for sale in the last 3 years. It's going to be hard to find a lot of things like this that you run across for comps. It's going to be difficult. But I know enough about printed music that I know it sells very well. We've sold almost everything that we've ever found, a music book of any kind, pop music, rock music, Christian music, doesn't matter. It always sells. So I knew all of this would sell. And there was box after box, and hardly anything was missing. Meaning all these boxes were full of music. I think hardly anything, if anything, sold out of these boxes for the whole estate sale. We were coming down to the wire 1 in the afternoon. By now it's probably 1:30 or 2. And they weren't selling this music. And I thought, well, I sure can sell it. I've never sold an orchestral score. I have no idea how to sell it. I have no idea where it is on eBay. So I started looking for comps, couldn't find anything. I couldn't find a comp on anything. I don't care what it was. I wasn't successfully finding orchestral or chamber music set of sheet music that for any song that has sold recently. I just wasn't, I don't know. Maybe I was off my game. Maybe I had a heat stroke because it was hot, as I said. But I couldn't really find anything. But I thought, I don't care. They're not selling this music. And this is the last couple of hours of the last day of this sale. They don't want to do anything with this music. They want someone else like me to cart it off. They don't want to take it to their next estate sale and try to sell it. They don't want to do anything with it. It's just too much stuff. So I thought, I'm going to offer a price. Now, generally at an estate sale, they don't like to bargain. But on the last day, last couple of hours, when they obviously have hundreds and hundreds of stuff here that no one wants, I knew I could make an offer. Now, generally at a garage sale or something, when you're the buyer, you want to let the seller make the first offer. You want to know, it's your item, what's the lowest you'll go? What can you do for me? That's a better question. See what they do. But an estate sale is a little bit different. They generally don't like to bargain, and they know enough to make the first number. So I thought, I need to have a number that I'm going to buy all 8 of these boxes loaded with music, like large banker boxes. You know, those banker cardboard boxes, same size that you buy 10 reams of paper at Office Depot, those size of boxes, loaded down with orchestral scores, all sorts of music. I thought, well, 8 boxes, 6 to 8 boxes. Some were partial, and I just thought, well, maybe there are 6 full boxes, but there's definitely 8 or 9 boxes with 1 or 2 of the boxes had some space in them. They'd either sold or they just weren't filled up to begin with. And I thought, I think there's 1,000 pieces of music here. So what will they take for 1,000 pieces of music? Well, the problem is some are songbooks, some are individual sheet music, some are orchestral scores, like hundreds were orchestral scores. These thick scores with all the instruments for a single piece, like Stravinsky's Firebird Suite. They had the score for that. Well, you're not going to find that on eBay probably, because probably that orchestral score hasn't sold in the last 3 years. It's sold at some point probably, but not in the last 3 years on eBay probably. And it's just very hard to know what to do. And I thought, what on earth? There are probably 400 or 500 orchestral scores and chamber music scores, and then another 500 sheet musics and songbooks. What will they take? Hundreds and hundreds. What do they take? They were asking $2 to $5 or $6 for each, but it was half price day, so I could buy individual pieces for $1 to $3. But I think they have 1,000 things here for sale in all these boxes. Music things. What will they take? I thought, if I'm offering 100, I don't think they're going to like that, but I don't want to pay more than that because it's a big risk. I have no idea how to sell this stuff. I've never sold an orchestral score in my life. I know the songbooks will sell. I don't know if the individual sheet musics will sell. Will a clarinet solo sheet music from 1981 sell? I don't know. Probably. I'm pretty sure it will. Maybe we'll have to lot up all the clarinet solos and sell them as one lot. That's fine. But I'm sure it'll sell, but I don't know for what. I just didn't know. So I thought, well, $100 sounds a little too low, but $125, that sounds good. So I decided I'm going to go out there and talk to the lady in charge and say, you have a lot of sheet music left, like almost all of it. It doesn't look like they're selling well at all. And by the way, I said exactly that to her, and she said, it hasn't. So she was frustrated. I think she was thinking, we got to do something with all this, because usually an estate sales job at the end of the sale is to clean out that house, whether it's sold or not. If I'll take all of the boxes of music, sheet music books, scores, things like that, I would pay you $125 for everything, and I'll walk out with it, and you don't have to take it to the next sale or do something with it. And she said, it was kind of funny. She was basically saying, well, I don't know, I'm going to have to think about it. And like there was a wink and then, an okay symbol with her fingers. And she was like 70, but she was like, I don't know. I'll just have to think about it and call you. Leave me your number, but I don't know. And yet she was giving me physical signs of, you bet, we're going to do this. So that was kind of odd. But later she told me, listen, I just didn't want other people to know that I'm willing to bargain at this time of day, because every buyer here is going to start bargaining. I thought, that makes sense. I should have been more careful. I learned a lesson. If you're at an estate sale or anywhere, a garage sale, you want to be private with your offers, because you don't want them to worry other people are going to learn that they'll accept offers, and then that's all that will happen for the rest of the sale. They're not going to get as much as they would otherwise. So that makes sense. I learned not to do that again, and I'm glad to know that. But she was saying, yeah, I'll take it. $125. You're going to cart all this music off? 1,000 pieces maybe? Great. Let's do it. So I made the deal, paid her $125 plus 15. I gave her 140. I said, you've been real nice about this. I want to pay 140. And I happen to have 140. Now, that's not real smart, not real businesslike, not real brilliant. Sort of hurts your bottom line when you agree to a price and you pay more for it voluntarily, but come on, $15, I'm getting 1,000 things here. Here's one of 2 big things about this. One, could I sell enough to make my money back? Well, there are about 1,000 pieces maybe, but that means that I'm going to have to sell everything for what? I need everything to sell for 14 cents or higher in order just to break even, because I paid 140 for probably 1,000 things. How do you look at this? Do you look at this, well, 14 cents a piece is what I'm paying. If I can get at least 28 cents for each of these, I'll double my money, less fees. That's not the way to do this sort of thing. I'm going to tell you how to do this. I'm going to tell you how to make this decision really easy, okay? $140, 1,000 items, all varied. I have no idea. I really didn't do any I couldn't. The real question is, well, can I find 14 things out of these 1,000 pieces? Can I find 14 things that'll sell for at least $10 on eBay? Well, yeah, I can find 14 out of all this stuff, songbooks. I can find 14 items that will sell for $10 or more. Well, then I've paid for everything. All the rest is groovy gravy profit. Don't look at it like I've got to get 28 cents for each item in order to double my money before fees. Just say, can I sell 14 of these for $10? If you pay $100 for a bunch of things, just ask yourself, if you pay $100 for a whole bunch of items, just are there 10 things here that will sell for $10? Well, you know there are. You know there's a lot more than 10 things there. That's how you judge this sort of, is this a bargain or not for me as a seller? Will a lot of things not sell out of this? I don't know. I really think basically everything's going to sell. But, well, I don't know for sure. Will there be a whole lot of music that's just not in demand and won't sell? Maybe, but I can find 14 things that'll sell for $10 or more out of this. I'm going to get my $140 back, and I'm going to make a whole lot more actual, because I know a lot more than 14 items are going to sell for a lot more than $10 a piece. She agrees. I pay her. We get it all loaded and get it home. And I start looking up comps, trying to list the first couple. I just want to list a few. I've got a mountain of things that I need to list before this music, but when I come home from a garage sale, I always like to list 1 or 2 items from the batch because I want to pay for today as fast as possible. That's my thinking. So Sunday, I wanted something to sell by Sunday night. It didn't, but that's my goal. So I got a nice orchestral score. It was in great condition. All of them were in pretty good condition. It was great condition. All the pieces were there. And I tried to figure out a way to list it on eBay. And I couldn't really find a way to list it. I couldn't really find something similar. It didn't have to be the same piece of music. It just needed to be like a similar form of a conductor and several instrument pieces all together in a score. I couldn't really find good comps or even just anything for sale. Something just wasn't clicking for me. Well, I knew I need to ask an expert. I'm not fully on board with all the AI stuff. I certainly don't generally use it to write descriptions, or eBay's AI description writer is just terrible. It violates everything eBay says don't do. It generates tons of text. It's just awkward, but it'll get better. It'll get really good. There's actually software that I've tested that you can upload pictures to this software and it will write your complete eBay listing, the title, many of the item specifics. It'll do its best to describe the condition, and it'll write the description. It's really amazing just from some pictures, but it takes a lot of work to fix it so that it's accurate still. But that's not going to take long to just start working as expected. But right now, all of that's clunky. It just doesn't work very well. But I just needed to know how to sell orchestral scores on eBay. And I knew that AI will answer that for me. Now, my favorite AI is Grok, Grok, and it's part of X. Twitter's now X. And if you're an X user, you can just click on the word Grok and it will come up and let you use Grok's AI. And I think it's a far better and more accurate AI than ChatGPT, which I've tested extensively. If you use ChatGPT to do comps, they're usually too high. Grok, I find, is a lot more reliable and a lot more within range of what something will actually sell for. And it sounds like I just use it all the time. I really don't. I rarely use it. Usually you can use product research or just sold comps. You'll find almost everything on eBay. Take a picture and do Google Lens, you'll find it. But sometimes I've used Grok. Sometimes I use ChatGPT, and Grok is always a better answer. So I thought, I need help. I'm going to ask Grok how to sell an orchestral score on eBay, or if it's even allowed. I don't even know if it's allowed. I couldn't really find much. So I started X, and then I clicked Grok, and I realized that you can't really see this. So I'm going to have to move the screen. I didn't plan this in it. By the way, big tip, planning is best done in advance, okay? So I need to move this over, but here is what I asked Grok. Now I'm going to copy and paste the things I asked. The first thing I asked was, can I list orchestral scores on eBay with the conductor's music and the individual instruments music? Now, I'm not done. I didn't click the go answer my question. I wanted to know something else. You can just keep refining and refining. You can just keep asking questions related to the same. It'll just keep refining what you want. And I wasn't done with what I wanted to know. Not only did I want to know, is it allowed? Can I list orchestral scores on eBay? So I added to this request, and I added the following. If so, what category can I list it for sale in? So I couldn't really find a category with scores in it. Now, I wasn't done. I needed one more thing. This will blow you away if you've never used AI much. Also, please give me 5 links of example eBay listings that I can look at. I wanted to see some scores for sale. Grok will just tell me. They'll find it. I couldn't find any very easy. I found 1 or 2 funny kind of things, but didn't really seem right. It'll find it because it's Grok. This is the most powerful AI I've ever tested. I've tested all of them. It's far better than ChatGPT, by the way. So then I clicked go find it. Usually I say, thanks. I'm a polite AI user. So let's click go do this. I'm using Super Grok. It's a more advanced one that takes longer for answers. If I had used the standard Grok, it would have been a lot faster, but my answer wouldn't be as reliable. I really want reliable answers on this, so I chose the expert mode, and that takes a little bit longer, like 35 seconds instead of 4 seconds. Come on. This is amazing technology. 35 seconds for my answer. And here's the answer. Yes, you can list orchestral scores on eBay, including the conductor's full score and individual instrument parts, often sold as sets or collections. Great. So it's legal. I can do this. It says, as long as they are legitimate physical items and comply with eBay's policy on copyrighted materials. They're saying if it's a copy of a score and not the actual score itself, well, you can't do that. You can't sell a copy of a CD or a VHS tape, you can't sell a copy of a piece of music either. But of course, so as long as it's legal, legitimate, numerous sellers offer similar items, from vintage study scores to modern orchestral sets without apparent restrictions. Fantastic. So I've got 1,000 things that I can sell just fine, and they do sell on eBay. But where I wasn't finding them very easily, what categories and things like that? Grok continued. The appropriate category for listing is under musical instruments and gear / sheet music and songbooks. Okay, that's probably where I was looking, but it just wasn't clicking for me. Fine, great. That's where I'll list it. That's where I've been selling all of our past music, so that's where I'll sell this. With subcategories like orchestra or classical for most listings. That makes sense. If it's classical music, obviously choose the classical category. If scores are antique, meaning 100 years old or older, or collectible, e.g., for example, pre-1950 editions, you could also use books and magazines / antiquarian and collectible / sheet music. Okay? So if I have real old ones, maybe I want to put it there. It might be more collectible than something that someone wants to play in the next 3 weeks. When creating your listing, eBay's item specifics allow you to tag details like ensemble, type, orchestra, probably, or chamber, format, score, and parts, because you want to say, I've got everything here. And genre to improve visibility. Someone's looking for Baroque music. I want to use the word Baroque in the item specifics. And if it's not Baroque, don't fix it. That's a little classical music humor you can throw out at your next cocktail party. They'll think you're a hoot. Then it ends with my final request. Here are 5 example eBay listings of orchestral scores. Some include conductor scores and parts for reference. And it gave me 5 links, looks like a Japanese composer and a score, full score, bunch of sheet music, and orchestral score book. I don't know. And 5 examples, and I can click these links and look at them. I'm not going to do it now. I've already taken too much of your time, but this is what you do. And what I did was save this. It's interesting. They found a Beatles score down here, orchestral Beatles part for string orchestras. Wow. Because this guy had a bunch of just very music. It wasn't all classical. Like I say, he had a Neil Diamond book, and probably he's got a Beatles musical score somewhere in these 1,000 pieces of stuff. What I will do is save this, and whenever I find something similar to one of these, I'm just going to click and sell similar off that. It's good enough for me. Got to sell similar off something. I don't want to create all this from scratch. You can use AI and put a picture into one of those AI things that generate listings, but you're going to have a lot of work ahead of you. I'm finding that takes far longer to correct and fix all the little problems than it helps. So we're not there yet. When we are, I'll tell you. For right now, anything you have, auto parts, if you don't know much about cars, you ran across 500 brake pads that are still in the package. How do you sell those? Well, ask Grok the best way. Should I sell them individually, front and back, and sell those separately, or should I sell all 4 together? What does better on eBay? It'll tell you all those answers. It's really unbelievable. Now, I can continue asking, so ask anything. It will remember what it just answered. I can add to this. You can add to this. You can say, well, I want the 5 links to be sold examples, not for sale examples. It'll fit this exact description, but it will give me 5 links that are sold. I think these are all actives, but it'll give me sold. No problem. I could say, what's the lowest price and the highest price for full orchestral score in the last 3 months on eBay that have sold? And it'll tell me. And this is how I now know to list my music. This is how I know it's legal to sell orchestral scores. That's probably a question I should have found out before I bought everything, but anyway, I didn't, but I knew it probably was legal. And this is how you can start using AI, not for creating descriptions that really need a lot of work, but for helping you become a better seller, for helping your items sell better, because you will have them in better categories, more accurate descriptions, more accurate item specifics. This is how you can really utilize AI for good right now in August of 2025 before it's really good. AI is not really good yet. It's very good, but it's pretty poor for creating eBay listings and descriptions and titles. Still pretty poor. You can trust me on this. I'm a tech guy. I was an author in another life, and the first 80 or so books that I wrote were about computer technology, programming, operating systems, all of that for all the big publishers, McGraw-Hill, all the major publishers, sold translated all around the world in every language, and I know a lot about technology, and AI does a lot of great stuff like this, but we're not there yet for creating listings really without a whole lot of work on your part. And to me, it's just not worth the whole lot of work. I'd rather just be in control from the beginning. But I'll let you know when it's getting closer and when you can start really saving time. In the meantime, use AI, use Grok, Super Grok, for guidance of these types of things. It will be able to help you tremendously.